It's Wednesday, July the 29th. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time to share a few thoughts with you. Let me begin by asking you a question, one that I asked even Sunday morning, if you will. And that is, are you facing some circumstances, situations in your life that are causing you some fear and anxiety? Could be anything from a major change to a minor event to a circumstance, a relationship, whatever it may be, that's causing you just a little bit of trepidation possibly. Well, we looked Sunday morning at how to choose faith over fear, but I want to dig just a little deeper and point out one particular thing in this that we looked at Sunday. We looked at Sunday at an incident in Jacob, which is Joseph's father's life, as Joseph has been ensconced now as the prime minister of Egypt, and he's reconciled with his brothers, and now he's invited the entire family to come and live with him in Egypt through this time of famine. And as Jacob sets out with all of his entourage, and he comes and he leaves all that he's had in Canaan, it says in Genesis 46:1, so Israel set out with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. Now, we looked at that encounter with God, and we looked at what God said to Jacob to not be afraid and all that kind of a thing. But I want to pause for just a moment and think about what he actually did here. He paused to worship. He paused to encounter with God and have an encounter with God, to spend time out of his relationship with God, to offer sacrifices, which was their concept of worship at the time, and just take some time to be with God in the midst of what was obviously a fearful situation, a circumstance that brought about trepidation in his life. Here's my admonition, here's my challenge to us, if we will. We're facing challenging times in these days, obviously, also. We're facing things that bring about fear and unknowns, and we don't know what next to expect. We don't know when the next decree is going to come down. We don't know when the next relaxation is going to take place. And we're just wondering what can really happen in our lives and how can we handle all this kind of thing. Could I ask you to do this? When you start to feel that way, would you just pause and worship? Would you just pause and spend a little bit of time with God and let him speak to you? Would you pull aside from everything you're doing, pull aside from all the distractions in your life, and as Psalm 46 says, just be still and know that he's God, and let him speak to you like Jacob did in this encounter. It is the priority of worship that we encounter here. It is what worship can do in our lives. And so here's my statement to you this morning, if you will, or today, whatever time you happen to watch this. And that is, would you let worship be your first choice, not your last resort? Would you let worship be the first thing that you decide to do when you face situations and circumstances that you just feel a little uneasy about? And not wait till they begin to overwhelm you and then come and seek God? Would you come at the beginning? That's what Jacob did before as he's beginning this journey, the first thing he does is he stops and he worships, and God speaks to him. Could I challenge you? Would you just stop and worship God and let him speak to you? And it's in that encounter that God will give you the resources that you need to face the situation and circumstance that you may be facing in your life. God is good, and he's good all the time. And as we encounter him in worship, we encounter a good God who loves to speak truth into our lives and encouragement and relieve us of the fear and anxiety that we do have. Well, until Sunday, God bless you. Thanks you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you again.